everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a kind of crazy story time video that I wanted to share with you all, and this actually happened pretty recently, even though I have had some kind of crazy experiences with my abilities. This one was like very different, and basically spirit showed up in a way that I have really never experienced before, so let's jump into it. So a couple of weeks ago I had a dream that I woke up to a knock on my door at my house basically, and I remember getting out of bed in the dream and going to the door and being like, what the heck, like who's knocking at the door? And it was very, very real and very, very, I don't know, it was like a different energy when you have dreams of spirit and when you have dreams of I don't know, like psychic experiences and stuff. It feels different than a normal dream. Like, it's way more vivid. You're like lucid, but that doesn't mean that you can like control the dream. It's just like you're aware that the dream is happening. So I go to the door and I answer the door, and this tall blonde guy is like in front of me, and he had short like blonde hair, and I was like, hi, like, can I help you? And he was like, yeah, I'm here with like my friends. I was just wondering if we can come in. And I was like, oh yeah, you can come in. Like, I knew that he was a spirit or something. So the weird part was him asking permission to like come into my house, because I actually have like a protective barrier up so spirits don't like just wander in whenever they want to. So the fact that he came to the door and like asked for permission to come in, almost like he could sense that I had a protective barrier up. I don't know, I thought it was super, super weird. But anyway, so he like motions to his friends to like come into the house, and he actually like comes inside, and he has this German Shepherd dog follow him inside. And so his friends come in, we're all hanging out in my living room. So the way that my house is set up is like you have the front door and then you walk straight into the living room, and it's like an open kind of area. We were all hanging out, sitting on the couches and stuff, and this guy, you know, he's probably in his 20s. I couldn't quite figure out like how old he was because he was extremely tall. He was probably like 6'2" or so when he showed up in the dream. Blonde hair, super, super friendly, like somebody that I could have definitely been friends with. And he just came in with his dog, and he was like talking about his dog. Like, he couldn't stop talking about this German Shepherd. It was almost like he would like call the dog like my girl, like, yeah, me and my girl, like we would go do this and this, and I was just like, that's freaking adorable. It was him and his friends in my house in the living room, like I said, and we were all pretty much just like doting over this adorable German Shepherd. And I can't tell you how clearly and how vividly I saw this dog, like with her little ears, and I was just like, wow, that's so great that they get to be together and all of this stuff. And I was just like, wow. So I feel like in the dream, I don't know, I kind of realized what was going on. Like, I feel like I knew that it was a spirit, and I knew that this German Shepherd was also passed. Usually when I have dreams of spirits that come to me and I realize that I'm dreaming of a spirit, I'll usually ask them, like, who do you need to get the message to? What's your name? What's the person's name that you need to get the message to? What is the message? And all this stuff. I get like very down to business because I know that I only have a limited amount of time in the dream. Basically, I was not fully aware that this spirit was here to get a message to somebody, because sometimes I'll just have dreams about spirits that need help crossing over or something. But I remember him telling me like that he was a Marine and that he was with his German Shepherd, obviously. And he didn't really talk about like how he died or anything. He was just like all about his dog during the stream and his friends. Really, I just got like the full essence of his personality in this dream. Like, so friendly, super like, I don't know, like laid back. He had a great smile. He was very attractive. He was a super nice person, and just like a genuine Like, have you ever been around one of those people that you're just like, wow, they are a genuine person, like, and you can feel it like radiate off of them? That is how this guy was. Like, he was just such a good, down-to-earth kind of person. I ended up waking up and having the realization that, oh shit, this is a spirit that I need to bring up. Like, it was almost like the feeling that I knew this spirit was for someone that I was going to come into contact with. But the thing is, I am a part of like a bunch of different like mediumship groups on Facebook, and I'm a part of, I'm doing readings like all over the place, so I'm like, shoot, like it's gonna be so hard to nail down who he was trying to get a message to, pretty much because I didn't get any information from him. I just had the description of him. I had that he was with his dog, and I didn't have a name. I didn't have a name of a person that he wanted to get in contact with. Nothing. So in my mind, I'm going, oh man, so it's either somebody on this Facebook group that I'm very active in, or it is for someone that I have a reading with on Saturday, because I was booked for aura readings at this little crystal shop like the following Saturday. I think I had the dream on Tuesday, and then Saturday I was supposed to work. So I was like, it's got to be one of those. It's either on the Facebook group, so I posted on the Facebook group, gave a huge description of like who he was and just kind of like the feelings that he was giving me. Like, he was safe, he was at peace, he was so happy, he was with his dog, he was with a couple of his friends that had passed that were around the same age. And I posted in the group and was like really expecting somebody in that group to like claim him, basically, and nobody did. So then I was like, great, I just look like I'm crazy, it's fine. Going back a little bit, I remember waking up from that dream and just being like completely wrecked. And when I say wrecked, I just mean I was really upset because, again, I've mentioned this in a couple of my other videos where you're like, you do this work, you connect with the spirit, you deliver a message, you know, describe the spirit, you do all of this stuff. But when you are experiencing a dream like that that's so vivid, and you're getting to like really be around this person and experience their essence and experience their personality and their soul and just who they are as like who they were as like a person, it makes it so much more real. And he was so incredibly young and so incredibly nice and just a genuine person that I was just like, man, it really sucks. He said he was a Marine, so I thought that he had died like in combat or something with his dog. That was kind of an assumption that I had just made. He didn't say that to me or anything. It was just, it made me so sad because I was like, oh, he's such a good person. He's such a genuine like spirit. He's such a genuine soul. It sucks that he had to die so early. Yeah, I just kind of, I went through this whole thing after waking up where I was like, wow, this is really sad and like really hard. And I don't know why lately like dreams have really been getting to me, and like the reality of the situation of like working with spirit, like you're working with a person. Like, we make it this ethereal, untouchable thing when in reality it's just like communicating with somebody that's here. It's just in a different form. So, you know, when you're doing readings, like mediumship readings, you know, I don't see people as clearly as other people do. Like, some people can see like down to the freckles, down to the crazy mole on their face, down to the tattoos, all of this stuff. But when I connect with spirit for a mediumship reading, I see them step forward more as like an outline of a soul that's like male or female, and then I'll ask them for characteristics. So you're kind of getting like pieces of the puzzle, but you're not quite seeing them as their full self. Which is why this dream hit me so hard, was because he came through as his full self, his full like personality, his full appearance, everything. Like, it was someone that I was talking to any other day, like someone that I was talking to here on Earth that was alive. That's how clear this dream was. Just the reality of the situation hit me, where I'm like, wow, that was a real person that was really here on Earth, that had a family, that had a dog, that was this great of a person, that was this genuine of a, you know, all this stuff. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. I just want to kind of reiterate this and why it was such a profound experience for me, because when you're doing mediumship readings, you kind of like, you see them more as a soul, and then you get the characteristics after you ask them for it or after they show it to you. Like, they may show you like that they had this style of hair, or that they wore glasses, or that they did this or this. But sometimes, like, especially for me, I don't see like a full image of the person, and you don't like, and maybe that's just where I'm at in my own mediumship development with, you know, people that are in heaven and stuff like that, where you're not really seeing like the full picture, which is why that dream was so crazy, because he came through full force with his personality, with his appearance, everything. Like, I was talking to someone that was alive, and he used to be alive. So like, that's just why I'm trying to explain this, is because usually when you do mediumship readings, it's a lot more like vague, and like they have to show you their hair, and then they have to show you this, and they have to show you that. But this dream, he came through full force, his full essence, and it was like wild. He died very, very young. He was in his 20s, which is my age. So I think that kind of reality started to hit me a little bit, and it was just really crazy to be like, well, crap, now, you know, I have this pull and this need inside of me to find whoever this message from him is meant for, and he didn't tell me his name, he didn't give me any information, so I was just like, shoot, like, what am I gonna do? So like I mentioned, I posted in the Facebook group, nobody claimed him. I woke up on Saturday and I was heading over to the shop for my readings that day, and I remember he was on my mind pretty much all week. Like, after that dream, I had been thinking about him, like, I don't know, that kind of sounds weird to say that, but I don't mean it in a creepy way. I just mean, like, the dream really impacted me, like, at a deeper level, and I was like, I gotta find out, like, who he belongs to, like, who does he need to get a message to. And I remember driving in the car, and I was going through some stuff, like, trying to, like, clear out, you know, my mind before doing the readings and getting to the shop, and I remember going, oh man, I wonder if that Marine, I wonder if, like, his person will be there today. And I just remember seeing clairvoyantly in my mind an image of this woman, older woman, probably in her 60s, short blonde hair, like a very distinct kind of cut with like bangs, very distinct cut, older woman, very tall. Oh my god. So that is who he's trying to get the message to. How weird would that be if I walked into the shop and like that was like my first reading or blah blah blah, and I was just like ha ha ha, like that's not gonna happen. Well, I should have learned like not to doubt spirit ever, because I got done with my readings. It was like my second to last reading, I think, I got done with. Yeah, 'cause she was my last reading for the day. I remember walking out of the room with my client, and I look over at the area where the people wait, like, for the readings. At the table was this woman, probably in her 60s, short blonde hair, like, perfectly matched what I had seen earlier. I don't know if it was him showing me or if it was my spirit guides or what, but I just remember, like, kind of being, like, flabbergasted and just, I feel like I was like mid-conversation with my client, like, yeah, have a nice day, like, so glad to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I just remember being like, oh my god. So I run back into the room and I'm like spraying the room to like clear it and stuff like I do between clients. I was like, no freaking way. No freaking way that this woman is here for this spirit that I didn't get a name for, that I didn't get anything for. I didn't know anything about him, and she's here for him. Like, I was like going back and forth in my mind, like, do I bring this up to her? Do I not bring this up to her? What if I'm wrong? What if I'm right? What if this? And I was just like, oh man, I gotta tell her. I have to tell her. Like, even if I'm wrong, like, I just have to tell her. So I bring her into the room. I sit her down. We say hi. That's pretty much it. And I just look at her and I go, so this is gonna sound really random, but do you have a young Marine that has passed in your family? And her face was just like, yes. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, blonde, German Shepherd? And she was like, yes. And I was like, okay, this is gonna sound nuts, but I had a dream about him earlier this week. He really wants to talk, like, blah, blah, blah. He's like totally okay, he's at peace, like all this stuff. And she was just crying, and I started getting choked up because I was like, no way. She had goosebumps, I had goosebumps. And like, little known fact is, sometimes when you are giving validation from spirit and you get goosebumps or something, that's kind of their way, people believe that that's their way of kind of like manipulating your energy a little bit to tell you that yes, that validation is correct. So we're sitting there, I'm crying, which I don't cry during readings usually, because you just kind of go into that headspace of like, I'm working right now, like kind of like that channeling headspace. But I hadn't gotten into it yet because I literally sat her down. I didn't even do my spiel that I do before readings. I was just like, listen, there's a Marine here. Is he yours? Like, does he need to get this message to you, basically? And she just was like, yes, and was crying immediately. So I had written down a description of him in my phone, and I read that to her. I was like, blonde, I don't know, like he was really, really tall, right? And she was like, yeah, and I was like, well, I couldn't tell if he was like lower 20s or higher 20s because he was so tall, it was kind of throwing me off. I couldn't tell like if he was younger or older because he was like a very tall guy. And she was like, yeah, he was 6'2", he was blonde, and I brought up the fact that he was a Marine, obviously, the fact that he came through with his German Shepherd, which she said, yes, his German Shepherd had died, I think it was before, like a year or two before he had passed away. And I did want to know about the friends. I said, did he have friends that had passed as well? And she was like, oh yes, and he was always with his friends no matter what. Like, he was always surrounded with friends. Came through with a killer smile. I told her that. Like, he had a great smile. He was very attractive. She actually pulled up a picture of him and showed it to me, and I could not believe how similar, like how accurately he came through in the dream, and how accurately I was able to see him, and how clearly I was able to see him. Blew my mind. So we're sitting there, I'm crying, she's crying, we're just like, what the heck? We're going back and forth like, oh my god, can you believe it? And he was with his dog. Like, the fact that he came through with his German Shepherd, I don't know why that got me so much, but like, they were so bonded. So if you have an animal, I just want to say this really quickly. If you have an animal that you're very, very close with, that you're very bonded with, that you have lost recently, you will see them again. They are not gone. They are just, you know, I like to say they're just in a different room. Like, they're still here. They're just in a different room. They're just in a different form, and you will be reunited with them, because, I mean, that was like serious validation that you will be reunited with your loved ones, like your friends, and any animals that you have. Like, I don't know, it just, you could tell like how soul bonded they were when they came into my house, and he couldn't stop talking about her. Like, he was so proud of his girl, which is what he would call her. It's so funny. Then I was like, you know, he didn't really talk about, you know, his death or anything, or who he wanted to get the message to. You know, so I started kind of asking about his parents and how he passed and all of this stuff. Oh man, I might get choked up actually talking about it again. But he got diagnosed with leukemia, like a really bad form of leukemia. I don't know if there's different forms, but it was like very aggressive leukemia. And his doctors had told him that there was nothing left that they could do for him. So he said to his doctors to use him to, oh, sorry, shoot. I don't want to cry on camera. So he told them to test on him to see if they could somehow use him to help find a cure, or help find, you know, something that could help someone else. Just the most selfless person ever. And he came through like that in the dream. And just the fact, oh shoot, I don't want to cry, God. Just the fact that he would give his life to the Marines, like for his country, and then he would give his life while he was sick, like to help try to find a cure. Like, honestly, just the best person. Like, didn't even know him. Wish I did though, because I would have definitely been friends with him. Oh shoot, I don't want to cry on camera. So obviously this story really touched me at a deep level, because that is the type of selflessness that I can't even imagine giving your life to the, like, it's really just a very special type of person. She had taken care of him towards the end there, and he came through actually before the reading, and I delivered a little bit of a message because I could feel him in the room, and so could she. And he just said, thank you so much for taking care of me. And she had actually told me that she went to a mediumship reading the night before my reading with her, and he didn't come through because there were so many other people. And that morning before she came to get a reading from me, she pulled his ashes out and said, all right, his name was Josh. All right, Josh, if you want to come through and talk, you better come through, you know, when I'm in this reading with Jackie. And he did. And he came through 4 days before because Spirit knows, like, is that not mind-blowing? And I felt so honored that he would come through so clearly for me and give me so much validation and so much evidence that he was okay. He was so happy too, like, and he was so healthy and so at peace. So if you have lost somebody that, you know, has passed from, you know, cancer or had a really terrible illness towards the end of their life, like, just please know, if you don't take anything else away from this video but this, you know that they are completely healthy and happy on the other side. They do not take the sadness or the illness or anything like that with them. They take their best self, and he showed up as his best self. I just feel very grateful that Spirit allowed me to experience this soul at such a deep level and in such a clear way. Like, it was honestly incredible. I don't know if I mentioned this, I'm sorry I went on such a rant, but the woman that came to get the reading was actually his aunt that had taken care of him towards the end of his life. His parents had actually passed away a few months before she got the reading with me, very suddenly. So I'm sure that they were all together too, but he just wanted to come through because he hadn't come through for her yet to thank her. And I know the holidays can be kind of a hard time for people that are going through loss and that are dealing with grief. So I hope this brings you a little bit of comfort knowing that, you know, people that do cross over, they are okay, they are at peace, they are happy, they're not gone, they're just in a different form, they're in a different room, you know, you can still talk to them. This holiday season, keep that in mind, you know, pour a glass of wine for your grandma, pour a glass of wine for your sister or your aunt or, you know, your whoever you've lost, your cousin, whoever it is, and know that they will be around and they will be there with you during this holiday season. Okay, that's the end of my tangent, I'm sorry. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe down below for more crazy storytime videos and some psychic development tips, and I will see you guys in the next video. God, what was that freaking laugh at the end there? Why do I feel like a sumo wrestler every time I do this?